Dhenkanal, a small township in Odisha, is famous for its fairs and festivals. But lately, it has added another distinction of a city that processes 100% of its solid waste. The transformation happened in 2019 when the city took it upon itself to collect, segregate, and recycle all of its municipal solid waste. It also formed a plan to earn money by selling its segregated waste through material recovery centers. The material recovery has been the answer to a twin set of problems. It has reduced the pressure on dumping ground with lesser waste being dumped, while also reducing the need for natural resources as most of the waste is being recycled and reused. But how did Dhenkanal transform into a smart and clean city? Let us find out in this episode of the Cleanest Cities of India. Dhenkanal is surrounded by forests on all sides. Around 80,000 people live here. The city produces 23 tons of waste every day. But before 2019, solid waste management in Dhenkanal was in a bad shape. Household waste collection was irregular. Most of the collected waste was either dumped in open areas on the city outskirts or burned. In 2019, the Dhenkanal Municipal Council or DMC decided on a set of rapid actions. It began when DMC met with all the local self-help groups and asked them to join the initiative. The SHGs, which agreed to help in the city's waste management, were first trained by DMC officials.
अभी 2019 से हमारे सैनिटेशन में ग्रेट चेंजेस आया। तो इसमें पहले जो सैनिटेशन का मॉडल पूरा वोमेन के हाथ में चला गया। जैसे कि हमारे जो पहला स्टेप था, डोर टू डोर लेवल में हर वार्ड में जो लोगों के साथ जाके उनके साथ बैठकर काम कर सकें, तो उनको हार्ट तक पहुंचने के लिए हम लोग का वोमेन ग्रुप से फिर हम लोग स्वच्छ साथी उनका पोस्टिंग हुआ। जो भी वल्नरेबल ग्रुप का जो भी लोग थे उनको ही इकट्ठा करके फिर हम लोग सैनिटेशन का प्रोसेस, ये जो न्यू मॉडल स्टार्ट हुआ, डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन मॉडल, ये सफ़र शुरू हुआ।
DMC also understood that waste segregation is the first step for a clean city. And through successful segregation at source, DMC could also start focusing on material recovery. Dhenkanal became the first urban local body in Odisha to construct and operate a material recovery facility. The waste collection process starts early in the morning. The segregated waste is carefully put into the chambers of the waste collection vehicle. All the dry waste like paper, plastic, and glass goes to the dry chamber. Wet waste like vegetable peels, fruits, and food waste goes to the wet waste chamber. Due to a rigorous door-to-door campaign organized by the Swachh Sathis, a remarkable change has occurred in the behavior of citizens. Segregation at source has become the norm, and this in turn makes the subsequent process that much easier to manage and implement. The segregated waste from households is then transported to the respective decentralized facilities, which are also known as wealth centers. 5 micro-compost centers, or MCCs, have been constructed by DMC across the city. In these MCCs, the wet waste is converted to organic manure through aerobic composting. It is a controlled process involving microbial decomposition of wet waste that is converted into organic manure. The dry waste is transported to the material recovery facility. Dhenkanal has 3 material recovery facilities. Here, the dry waste is further segregated into recyclable and non-recyclable materials. What is to be noted here is that these material recovery facilities are run by members of the self-help groups, thereby involving adequate livelihood opportunities for the SHGs. At the material recovery facility, recyclable materials like plastic, paper, glass, metal, and rubber are transferred and stored in their respective chambers. The non-plastic recyclable materials like glass and rubber are generally sold in the local market to authorized kabadiwalas through a formal agreement. Revenue generated from selling these materials is either used to manage the MRF or distributed among the members of the self-help groups.
Now we are collecting around 25 metric ton wastage. All are coming to from the household directly to the wealth center, and all the wastage are being treated here. We have already collected minimum 40 lakhs rupees from the wet waste as my manure, and we have also collected revenues from the dry waste segregations.
Non-recyclable materials are stored inside the facility until a bulk quantity is achieved. DMC has made an agreement with EcoCart Technology Private Limited, wherein EcoCart collects around 150 tons of all types of recyclable and non-recyclable waste on a monthly basis. EcoCart has a formal agreement with Baragarh cement plant. It sends the non-recyclable waste there to be used as a refuse-derived fuel. Earlier, DMC used to pay these self-help group members associated with solid waste management from its own revenues. But now that the system has become fully functional and self-sustaining, revenue generated from MCC and MRF units is sufficient not only to run the units, but also to pay all self-help group members associated with waste management.
हमारे जो प्लांट में अराउंड 5 लाख तक हम लोगों का रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो जाता है, लेकिन हम लोगों का जो ये एक्सपेंडिचर पार्ट है, एक्सपेंडिचर में हम लोगों का सैलरी दोनों में एमसीसी और एमआरएफ में सैलरी 2 लाख 80 अराउंड जाता है। फिर जो भी मशीन का और रिलेटरी बिल, प्लांट का मेंटेनेंस, उसका ये सब है कि तो 5 लाख से हम लोग का रेवेन्यू और एक्सपेंडिचर को अगर हम देखते हैं तो ये हम लोग के पास बैलेंस अमाउंट रहता है, तो ये फुल्ली सस्टेनेबल मॉडल है।
These efforts have made a positive impact in Dhenkanal city. The overall aesthetic of the city has also improved because littering has almost stopped. The Banja Kusuma Mahishapur dump site, where approximately 89,000 tons of legacy waste was lying, is now undergoing biocapping. Biocapping is the process of transforming a dump site from a wasteland to a natural environment such as a park or woodland. It involves placing a cover of soil and grass over contaminated material to isolate waste and contaminants. Generally, biocapping is done on sites with low levels of contamination. It does not remove contaminants. Instead, It isolates them and keeps them in place to avoid the spread of contamination. The dump site is spread over an area of 6.9 acres, out of which 70% of the area is already biocapped. Once the biocapping is done, DMC is planning to set up a construction and demolition waste management plant. Waste is considered a liability by the majority. But Dhenkanal shows us that when treated rightly, waste can be a major source of revenue. An entire industry can come up around waste, which provides tons of green jobs to people from marginalized backgrounds. Further, a successful industry also generates prosperity in the community and allows for further development. This little city in the heart of Odisha has turned waste into wealth.